have people from all backgrounds who have done previous. We have ex-consultants, for example, who joined to work in asset management. Find mentors.
Nice.
Straight. And I think I got my internship because I found a mentor in uni. You are not only competing with students in the UK, but you're competing with students from top finance unis in Italy, like Bocconi.
Yeah.
You're competing with students from France, from HSC, INSEAD.
You just need to apply to any place that you can. And if you don't have investment banking experience, just apply to some no-name place, whatever, just put some experience on your CV, because then in the next round when you apply, it will make you so much stronger candidate.
Hello everyone and welcome to a new video from CareersTalks, where I chat with professionals about their daily job responsibilities, their career paths and how they manage to land their jobs. If you are interested in finance, this video is a must watch. In this video I take snippets with my interviews with experienced finance professionals in London that work in asset management, private equity and investment banking, and I asked them, if you have one advice for candidates who want to land a job in your industry, what would that advice be? I hope you'll enjoy this video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I think two last questions. The first one is, what advice do you have for people who's trying to break in, whether they're experienced people or graduates, basically? What would be one key skill maybe, or key advice, whatever you can think of, that is important to have?
Yeah. So I think people should realize that it's a very competitive industry.
Yeah.
Everyone know and everyone has publicly, like you can see the salaries. So all of the investment banks increased salaries massively in the last couple of years. So making that industry even more attractive for people who just graduated. Because I don't think there is just a few jobs that are going to pay you as much with like zero experience, literally. So you're gonna come out of university not knowing anything in a real life, basically, on how to do stuff, and they're gonna throw so much money at you. Obviously, that kind of drives all the best people to apply, and not only all the best people, but everyone. And basically, the pool of candidates is massive. So I think people should never quit and never be disappointed when they get rejected. It's just a numbers game. You just need to apply to any place that you can. And if you don't have investment banking experience, just apply to some no-name place, whatever, just put some experience on your CV, because then in the next round when you apply, it will make you so much stronger candidate. Because people who actually done M&A and investment banking, they are in much better position to get another internship at some better place or full-time offer than someone who's never done it. Because at the end of the day, people know that job, like working at ABN AMRO or HSBC or Evercore, effectively is not that much different. So once you went through something for the first time, it's going to be much easier.
Like your case, where you were able to shift to somewhere easier.
Exactly. Even though if you haven't covered the same industry, they can when you're junior, they can teach you pretty quickly to do stuff. But they want someone who is good at their basics with the hard skills like Excel, PowerPoint, etc., and then they can build on everything else.
I think one great tip you had also about the networking as well.
Yeah, I think that's very, very good point and worth mentioning. So a lot of people network and try to break into industry through networking, which I fully support. But I need to say one thing: when you network, you shouldn't just network for the sake of networking. It should be very targeted networking. And what does that mean? I'll explain now. So I can say that every analyst and associate from every big bank on the street, they receive hundreds of messages every summer before, and we all know, once I receive the message in my inbox on LinkedIn, I know what it is about. I know what they want to ask me, right? But so many times those kids, they are hyped and they are sending casino applications. They are all over the place. So sometimes I even receive the messages with the not correct name. So they just copy paste messages with that they send to everyone, and they forget to change the name. And you see so there is no real bond, and you can't really make a connection that way. So what they can get from this, they can get your referral. So you can take their CV and put it there and say, okay, this guy is good. Can you have a look at it? But you will never do that for someone with whom you can't really connect. So I think for everyone to know this, it's really pointless. For example, you want to apply to Goldman Sachs, and you don't know anyone, it's not your school alumni, just to go on LinkedIn, Google Goldman Sachs analyst, find some random analyst in Goldman Sachs and ping him message. There is literally nothing that can come out of this. The networking should be very targeted. What does that mean? You should find someone. For example, in my case, I'm from Serbia, smaller country. So if you find someone from Serbia or ex-Yugoslavian countries, it's much easier with me to connect with that person. We will speak the same language or something, and already you can create some bond.
Yeah.
So that's maybe one way. Second way is like using your university alumni network.
Yeah.
So you already went through the same university. For example, me, I'm very willing to give back to IE by helping people to break into, because I feel that IE helped me. So I would be very keen to help someone else, you know. So that's like another route. Or if, for example, for specific reason you want to do specific products. So what happened for me is when I was applying, I applied to Société Générale, and it was I wanted to do DCM in the beginning, not M&A, and there was a position for CE EMEA DCM team, which is like Central and Eastern Europe, which is the part of the Europe where I come from. And what I've done is I found the person in the team. I messaged him. I was like, "Yeah, I'm from this region. I think I have the knowledge of the region. I'm quite interested, etc., etc." He was like, "Yeah, sure. Send me the CV." I sent him the CV. The day after, I had the interview, and then a couple of stages. I was at the final stage. In the end, I didn't go for final stage because I got ABN AMRO and M&A. But I'm saying I managed to. I did like I targeted my networking.
One message.
It's one message, but it's, you know, why this team? Because I'm from there, because I'm interested, I know the region, etc., etc. It wasn't like general,
I'm just
open.
interested.
You need to have a specific reason why you apply if you want to go to a random person.
Makes sense.
So I think that's very important for people to know, just not to waste their time sending like random messages to random people, because nothing will come out of it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
If we talked a lot about different advices, doing the internship. If we want to boil it down to one advice, I'm an international student, I'm trying to come to London, whether for an internship or a full-time job, let's say in finance. What's one advice, like a summary, let's say?
Find mentors.
Nice.
Straight. And I think I got my internship because I found a mentor in uni.
Nice.
So
network with professors, alumni, could be a mentor,
even professionals from the industry.
Makes sense.
It's critical, and not only to start, but all throughout your career. When you're like a junior, your first 5 years, 10 years, even later. Wherever you are, if it's your team, find someone that you can learn a lot from and that takes you kind of under their wing.
Yeah, and then when it comes to mentorship, it can, let's say, have one technical mentor that can help you get that industry you want, but also have other mentors that work in any industry where you want to do something similar to what they did, or you just want help with, like me and you, for example, our relationship. I see that you were passionate about what you did. You were keen. I was like, interesting. I want to do the same throughout uni. So that's how like our bond was built. I always ask you, okay, I'm applying, what do you think? So have that type of a mentor as well, where you just like don't really obsess, I want to learn from them and ask them the technical part. Have someone else that you can just like think of it as just a chill conversation, build friendships as well, and don't think of it just as a formal relationship with a person. It can just be a friendship with someone, and ask these questions if it's someone older than you or more experienced.
Absolutely. And understand this. This is another one. Understand that when you start work, you are learning, and what that means is that don't have a short-term mentality. You most definitely just gonna do a lot of work at the start, which eventually can come back at you with good opportunities. So my case, I got this job because I put in a lot of effort in the bank. I got a mentor who used to be my director there, and then 2-3 years later he recommended me for a job without me even asking. So put in a lot of work for these mentors. Like, make yourself useful to them.
Show them what you got. So they can also know your skills and put them in the right direction.
Whenever that is, and key that not be short term. Don't expect something immediately.
Yes.
This can come 2, 3, 5 years later, but it can come.
The
more you do it, the more chances you have for something cool happening for you later
on. Makes sense. And then the last question would be, if you had one advice to graduates, or you can answer the question if you have one advice to people that want to shift into asset management, what would that advice be?
So let's go to graduates first. I think my advice to graduates when they're looking to apply to jobs or find a career or find something that they think is fulfilling is just be honest with yourself and spend a lot of time thinking about what do you think you're good at? What do you think you might enjoy? You don't want to make the mistake. And the reason I'm saying this is I'm kind of speaking from experience because I spent time studying engineering. And if I had to go back and I was 18, I would probably spend more time trying to figure out what I wanted to do. The reason I ended up studying engineering is, quite frankly, it was a lazy choice. It was not out of knowledge. It was out of ignorance. It was only later on that I discovered that my passion is economics. So my advice would be something along those lines. Spend time figuring out and I know it's easier said than done. It's hard as an 18-year-old to know what you want to do for the rest of your life.
Makes sense.
But at least figure out what you don't want to do and make sure you don't end up in that, right?
Yeah.
And then more specifically, maybe for people who've just graduated, who are interviewing, etc., probably something worth keeping in mind is when you go to interviews, more often than not, the interview is actually led by you. Maybe you don't realize that, but if you choose to pick to talk about profits or about inflation, then the interviewee will probe you even more on that topic. So before you bring something up in an interview, make sure you're comfortable with that subject. And a lot of people who come out of interviews and say, "Oh, that was horrible. I had no idea what to answer." Subconsciously, and maybe they don't realize it in the moment, they probably led that interview that way.
The direction.
Yeah. And I have made that same mistake where I kind of underestimated my own influence on where the interview would go.
Yeah.
So that would be my advice. And in terms of switching to asset management, I think it's a pretty, we have people from all backgrounds who have done previous, we have ex-consultants, for example, who joined to work in asset management. But just like any other business, in asset management, you have a variety of jobs. You can be an investment analyst. I used to be an investment specialist, which is more on the commercial side. So speaking a lot to clients and talking to investors, updating other people. You can be an accountant and work for us. You can be a tax specialist. You can be a salesperson. So there's a variety of jobs that you can do in asset management, and those jobs require a variety of a degree of interest in financial markets and services, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's no different than anybody who's trying to break into any other financial services.
Makes sense.
It is a very competitive market, and it's getting more and more competitive.
True.
So you are not only competing with students in the UK, but you're competing with students from top finance unis in Italy, like Bocconi.
Yeah.
You're competing with students from France, from HSE, INSEAD. Like, there is a lot of competition.
Yeah.
So I think for international students, you have to find little ways to distinguish yourself. Two things. Little ways to distinguish your profile from the very standard finance profile.
Candidate,
Because they receive a lot of those.
True.
And the second thing is understand the application process well. Because many companies now are using different interview techniques, like video recordings of yourself to answer one question and stuff. And I don't know if people know about this, but these companies, it's not one person filtering through the videos. It's an algorithm sometimes. And it picks little things like the background here, if your facial expressions, if you're stressed, if you're reading, So if you understand the process well and prepare yourself for that process, for each specific place that you're applying to, you're maximizing your chances of getting through the initial stages. And once you are finally in contact with a person, then it's up to you.
100%.